Welcome everybody to the Daytona International Speedway this week. For the Daytona road course as well is going to be one heck of an event coming into tonight. And well, a few twists and turns here and there. It's all going to be a 35 lap event broadcast here on the Racing Line Broadcasting Network. It is the pay to win setups 125 for the Elite Championship Racing League. And qualifying is currently underway as we will get your point standings right now, actually, with how things are looking after last week's event at the Daytona Oval. It was Joshua Soucy that, well, it was actually Stephen Massey that came away with the win last week. Joshua Soucy, however, does lead the point standings as of just a few minutes ago, of course, double checking in case anything did happen. But in the meantime, it is a very close points battle. The entire top 10, top 11, I think top 12 technically, top 12 to 13 drivers are all within about 19 points of each other. There are ties all across the board, and it is going to be absolute mayhem, and the points will most likely and very definitely be scrambled coming into this week's event. So we're currently under qualifying conditions, just about a minute left, as John Caldwell is currently sitting on the pole at the moment. Only 15 drivers currently have qualified out of what looks to be about 30 in total, but we will of course double check the numbers just to be sure. In the meantime, though, we are currently awaiting pretty much everyone else to either start lap time or finish up their lap time. So let's take a look at a couple drivers who are currently making their rounds here around the Daytona road course. One of which being Jacob Grider in the 49. Will he, I believe, do the same thing as last week? If I am not mistaken, it might be the same driver. I could be wrong. Must have already put in a warm-up lap already. Looks like that would be his lap done. 17th place, 2 minutes and 6 seconds. Currently, the fast time is by John Caldwell, who set a 1 minute 56 second lap. Sorry, 1 minute 53 seconds, correction. More specifically, a 153.279. As Joshua Soucy rounds up his lap time, goes to third place. And then the last driver to really make a time set right now is Kurt Quist, or the last driver to set a time that is currently on track is Kurt Quist. But, well, he hasn't really moved from this current position, and he might actually be deciding against it. Did not get going at all during qualifying. So that wraps up qualifying coming into this race. We'll now go into your starting grid. That is unfortunately the incorrect graphic. We were looking for this graphic if it resets. Unfortunately, we're having some issues once again. Not sure as to why. But we'll double check everything, see if everything works out or not. Unfortunately, everything seems to be broken once again, so we'll do this the old-fashioned way once again. And in fact, remembering what happened last week, we'll try this one more time. The old off and on. Just to make sure that everything is actually properly working. Everything will actually have the information grabbed for your starting grid coming into tonight. It's going to be a quick run through as well, considering the amount of drivers that we have. And there we go. So, fastest lap and the Driven Clad Pole Award goes to John Caldwell, setting that 1 minute 53.279 second lap time. Joey Stats sits in the second place position on that row. And then we're going to be quickly moving down the order. And so we have Joshua Soucy and James Wallace starting third and fourth, already second behind. So this looks to be, at the moment, a two-horse race, essentially, for this lead. We will have a mid-race break, of course, at about lap 18. In the meantime, Michael Leiby will be rounding out the top 5 position. Stephen Massey starts off in 6th place. 7th place is going to be Joshua Johnson. Starting 8th is Mark Figueroa. And rounding out the top 10 positions are both Ryan Hedrick and Josh Mayu. Trey Davis will start in the 11th place position, with Matthew Hibbs starting in 12th place to his right side. Jordan Mackey starts off in 13th, a near flat-out 2-minute time there. with Matthew Smethers starting in 14th place position in that number 33. Andrew Hibbs rounds out the top 15. Jeremiah Stutzman starts 16th. 17th place is David Moody, with 18th place being Jacob Grider. 20th place, 19th place rather, is Matthew McCann. 20th place is Gary Bauer. These are the drivers that did not set their lap times. We have Jay Anderson and Chris McCullough, 21st and 22nd. 23rd and 24th are both Jim Westerfield and Kenny McCullough Jr. 25th is Anthony Thitchener, with 26th being Kurt Quist. 27th is Ryan Dimple. 28th is John Mankowski. And 29th is going to be Jeremy Freer with Louis Salmaso rounding out the 30-car field. But Louis Salmaso has not gridded, unfortunately. So it will be a 29-car race here for tonight, for this afternoon's event. Considering the semi-quick start that we had, it's going to be a very exciting race in general. Let's take one more look at the point standings, just a quick glance to see who will be starting, well, who's going to be sorted out where. Take a guess, because it is going to be quite a lot here throughout this first event. A second race overall, and John Caldwell Jr. leads them to the green flag here at the Daytona Road Course. The three did not get going. Joey Stats up on the outside as they all funnel down into turns 1 and 2. Already down the back straightaway, the lead has very quickly changed hands over to Joshua Susi with John Caudill in that second place position, as all the drivers make their way through the bus stop to start off this 35 lap event. A few drivers making their rounds, making their way by, some letting other drivers by. This midfield is going to be absolutely packed throughout these next few laps. And all right, Joshua Susi going to be leading the first lap coming out of the final chicane here at the Daytona Road Course. Just like that first lap led goes to the number 81 machine. Joey Stats didn't get a great start, but has made his way up through the, well, not made his way up through the field, I should say. I should rather correct myself and say that he has managed to stick with the top three, more specifically. Already a lot of these drivers very much spread out early on. As we take a look back to midfield, this is Jacob Grider in the 49 machine, just at the edge of the top 10. That's a driver that went wide. I believe that is David Moody in the number 28, and it indeed is. Going a bit wide on corner entry. We saw that with a couple of drivers on the start, as there's a huge crash in the back, huge hit, I should say. That is John Mankowski. He will be able to get it going at least off the track. He does have the access road right there on the lower portion of your screen to make it through the corner. He should be able to do that at least. I think, yeah, just to be on the safe side, he's going to go all the way around and unfortunately not take that shortcut. All the way back now to 28th place. Battle for the 16th place position. Kurt Quist in the number 95, defending that 16th place, with Kenny McCullough Jr. in the 03 and 17th, sitting right on that back bumper. I think that was Ryan Hedrick actually in the back. That had just locked up out of turn number, out of the back straight chicane. Not entirely sure, to be quite honest. There's definitely a driver in the back that had locked up. Oh, driver locking up on the entry as well. That's that's Kurt Quist actually. No, that's Kurt Quist, not Anthony Fitchener. Had come to a stop in the chicane, overdrove the entry. I'm going to be taking a quick look at that as well to see what exactly happened here on the exit of the banking to Kurt Quist. Exiting the banking, and oh, it took way too much speed. He was not going to make that in time, and he decides just in time to stop. Missing a couple other drivers. The driver in the back as well had actually slowed down and stopped. That is Matthew Hibbs. So a couple drivers having issues already with that final chicane. One driver that is definitely not having issues keeping tabs with the lead is John Caudle, of course the pole sitter for this event, sitting right behind Joshua Susi, still in that line of the draft. Of course, cautions will not be a major factor unless race control decides otherwise, but in the meantime, the only time we'll have a caution is about the halfway point, that being the stage end. And someone who's definitely not waiting until then to get as many points, or stage points as possible, is John Caudle. Look how close he is here on the back bumper. Tries to make a move on the entry to the chicane. So far, so good. Did he make a bit of contact? Both of them actually overshot. Caudle does not come to a stop. Now he does. Might have to get it refired once again. And just like that, Joey Stats now in the lead after a very hectic corner entry. Onboard Joey Stats to see how he got the lead so early on. Already lock up, and well, just like that. Wow. Already a very wild start to this race. A 4-second lead by Joey Stats as James Wallace has snuck his way up to that second place position because of the not exactly off-track excursion, but more the alternate route excursion by both the 81 and the 48. Although that might be short-lived, because here comes Susi, not wasting any time. You see the last lap difference here. That Susi's last lap was a 2-minute 2.3 second lap, but that was only because he had to come to a stop. He might actually, most likely, will get a faster lap this time because he's right on the back bumper. At least he was until he got a bit loose there off of the back straight chicane out of the bus stop. But he does have very consistent pace. Let's take a look back now throughout your midfield. For 15th place, it is Kenny McCullough Jr. We saw battling Kurt Quist for the 16th place position. Well, good news for anyone who is a fan of Kurt Quist. He is up to 17th right now. After having to come to a stop very early on, made his way up through the field. Ryan Hedrick currently sits in that, nope, scratch that. Jim Westerfield sits in that 16th place position as Hedrick goes by. Very slow on the exit was Westerfield. Not sure if he actually had inadvertently cut the chicane. Oh, spin on the inside. That is Anthony. No, that is Jacob Grider, correction. Having a spin on the exit of the final chicane. Everyone's just having issues with that final chicane, apparently. Many drivers having issues. We'll see. Was it contact by chance with the with one of the turtles? No, the 87 to Fitchener actually did have huge contact with that. And then the 49 tries to get going and then spins out. Wow. One more replay on board. The 87 of Fitchener, who came in way too hot. Stalled it as well, and unfortunately makes huge contact. There are just no words to describe the final chicane aside from difficult, apparently. Currently looking at third place here, the 48 of John Caudill. Joshua Susi in the 81 still sits in second. And having a very dominant lead so far is Joey Stats. He's actually lengthened the gap from 4 seconds the last time we checked in on him to now 6.4 seconds. So Joey Stats may have a bit of an advantage here, at least in terms of tires compared to Susi, because himself and Caudill have been battling so much, trying to stay ahead of each other in their respective ways. So maybe a tire issue for Joshua Susi in terms of tire management. So Susi will make his way through turn number 1. John Collis at second. James Wallace sitting fourth. There's fifth place. Michael Leiby appropriately enough in the number 5 machine. Let's see if we can find any close battles here on track. Closest one looks to be between Jeremiah Stutzman and Joshua Mackey. There's Mackey right there going through in the 82. That's by about a 0.1 second gap. Scratch that. Make that Stephen Massey and Mark Figueroa being the closest battle. So now we'll bring up really how many drivers, the gap to the drivers in front. So in this case, say Michael Leiby. Well, Michael Leiby with that plus 6.2 seconds, that is the gap to James Wallace in front of him. So these drivers have the gap to their drivers, to the drivers in front of them. I saw somebody was a lap down, unfortunately. Andrew Hibbs and David Moody, unfortunately, out of this race early on. Mark Figueroa sits in that 6th place position where Stephen Massey is very quickly closing in on him. That's from 4th to 3rd to 2nd gear. Go to first gear and you're going to spin your tires and just absolutely have the not the best corner exit. You see, the gap was actually lengthened there by 0.2 of a second. The thing is, the bus stop is absolutely incredible in some cases. In some ways to gain time, some ways to lose time. Especially on corner entry for Stephen Massey coming right up to the back bumper. This is once again for 6th place. Might stick right with this battle considering it is the closest that we have. A great job by Massey as well to just back off. I think Michael Leiby just up ahead had went wide on turn 1. Everything does seem to be fine so far as we continue to watch this 6th place battle. Massey looks to the right side, decides against it. He'll wait for the time being before he makes a move. In fact, he might try to do it right now. As he looks on the right-hand side, sets right behind. And huge back off there by Massey. Once again, great job by Massey to just back off, to sit and wait, because he doesn't want to go all over the back bumper of Figueroa and mess up his line, or mess up his own line, rather. He wants to make a pass, but he doesn't want to make it at a severe cost. I think both of these drivers, actually, are now catching up to Michael Leiby. That might be the case. We'll take a look here at the comparison times. About 0.3 of a second faster. There it is at the bottom of your screen with their last lap. That gap might be very steadily closing here. Figueroa leads Massey out of the bus stop back into turn number 13, I believe. Turn 12, correction. The most brutal thing about this track are those curves right there, and that's why these drivers are trying to avoid that as much as possible. You hit those curves, and what we saw happen with Fitchner. As they come down into turn 1, Massey tries to look to the left-hand side, successfully passes. Does Figueroa come back? Decides to hold off for now. He does have the infield section. Let's see who is better through here. Last lap time, a tenth of a second faster was Massey. In fact, just under a tenth of a second, technically speaking. About 0.08 seconds. And with that, we see the 81 of Joshua Susi, who was running up in the top 3 at the time. The last time we checked in on him, definitely the top 5. And now, unfortunately, he is out of that running at the moment. He had spun on the exit by the looks of it, of the horseshoe here. Coming through, he's fine, and just overpowers the car. Take one more look and listen on board. Oh man, his tires were already sliding, unfortunately, off of that corner. Well, Susi now sits in 7th place. And Joey Stats, who qualified 3rd, about 3 seconds slower than the front 2 runners in qualifying, now sits 1st place with a near 10-second gap. John Collins sits 2nd. James Wallace sits 3rd. Stephen Massey, there he is. He sits 4th. Mark Figueroa now sits in 5th. Susi actually got by Jordan Mackey for the 6th place position. It has been a wild first few laps here at the Daytona Road Course. It's not even remotely over just yet. Once again, we do have at least one caution guaranteed, and that would be it, which is at the halfway point of this race due to the stages. Well, stage rather. So let's see if we can find any closer battles. In fact, Kenny McCullough Jr. had went off track. Was it quite literally for the 03? Entering the first horseshoe. Goes very, very wide. Gets into the grass, and yep. As well as right back, that's Jim Westerfield that had gotten by him in that 35 machine. Just did not get enough braking there, unfortunately. That's a lot of the pattern that we've been seeing, though, both in real life and, of course, here at iRacing, is that it's always the braking. It's always the braking zones that some people do have troubles with. It's also tire management sometimes. It's possibly Matthew Hibbs that may have actually gone off track. We'll take one more look. He did. He had a very, very wild excursion here. Replay up on your screen. Once again, the 24 Matthew Hibbs goes through the kink, carries a bit too much speed into the grass, tries to slow it down, takes out some cones, and then goes just wide, tries to slow it down again, locks up the tire almost spins out. Now he sits behind that 60 of Chris McCullough. But there may have been, another replay actually. Oh, there's another spin up ahead, actually. That was the 03 again of Kenny McCullough Jr. So we have 2 incidents here into the bus stop. Well, we're going to be in replays for a while if we don't catch a break here. This is Kenny McCullough Jr. the same lap, I believe, that he went wide. First, he's fine. Overdrives the first entry to the bus stop. Goes a bit wide, and then he gets back on track. Just behind him, though, another driver had actually gone off. Was it the 57 of Johnson? It was. Joshua Johnson cuts the first entry and has to slow it down at some point. And did, of course, serve that penalty, so he is still going. Back up front, now that we have a bit of a break in the moment. Currently still Joey Stats leads by, now there it is, 10 seconds. Did another driver go off? Because we just saw, yeah, it is Ryan Dipple in the number 20 machine. Most likely cut the chicane, we'll see. Had to have come to a stop. Just didn't get braked in time. Just didn't get slowed down in time, more specifically. And he comes to a stop here. Not sure if he was waiting for Joey Stats to go by. Yeah, he was. So he was, just so he was sure that he wasn't in the way. To back live once again. And there is Jeremy Freer in the 13 machine. Potentially about to be the first car one lap down here at the Daytona road course. Joey Stats a bit of a wild line, but still hangs on to it. Mark Figueroa may have gone wide because he and Joshua Susi were side by side, possibly for a second there on the entry to turn number 1. Susi clawing his way back up after spinning out in the horseshoe in turn 3. He set 7th for quite a few laps, and now he sits in the top 5 once again. This is battle for 21st on track. Kurt Quist and Matthew McCann, 21st and 22nd respectively. Both the 95 and 53. Looking around for close battles here on track so far, this is the closest one that we have. I may have spoken too soon, and Kurt Quist may have locked up the left front there actually on corner entry, but he is still going. None of these drivers really want a chance pitting just yet. So again, about lap 18, which technically is halfway, or possibly the completion of lap 18, about the completion of 17 or the completion of 18, we will get that caution for the stage break, because half of 35 is 17 and a half, so it's up to race control to decide how they want to deal with that. Again, Chris McCullough and Joshua Johnson, 18th and 17th. McCullough actually closing in on the back bumper here of Joshua Johnson. So far, it's been a caution-free race, and that looks to be the common trend here. Aside from a few spills here. As Ryan Hendrick goes into the bus stop chicane in 16th. 17th is Joshua Johnson. 18th, Chris McCullough. It's a great drive there through the bus stop, enough to catch up almost. Back just about to the back bumper of Johnson, who takes the defensive line. Side by side on the exit of the banking. McCullough slides, holds on to it, cuts the chicane, hugely cuts the chicane. He'll have to come to a stop at some point here. I try the apron. He might just be slowing down at the very least. In real life, of course, you have to stop before you cross the start-finish line, but in iRacing, you do have a slowdown penalty that you, of course, could just slow down for. Roughly about 3 seconds, depending on how much you cut. So McCullough almost had that, overdrove, unfortunately, but still managed to hang on to it. Still didn't make any contact, and he'll try again in a couple laps if he does have enough time to catch up. Looking at now, Anthony Fitchener in 13th place. Josh Mayu in the 02 sits in 12th. These two drivers now are the closest battle on track. Now, scratch for that, Joshua Johnson and Chris McCullough have actually not exactly come together. Did Johnson go wide by chance? May have actually gone wide at some point. We'll see if we can take a quick look at the replay here. As we try and get focused on the 57 of Joshua Johnson. He actually had spun it. We'll rewind this one more time. On the entry to the third turn here. First, he's fine, he's fine, he's fine. And he just gets going way too quickly, spins the tires. Here comes Chris McCulloch striking out of nowhere. This is a very sketchy place to pass in a way to go side by side, but McCulloch just had enough speed to get by Johnson. Well, it has been 13 laps so far. Not all 13 have been led by Joey Stats, but he has been very dominant throughout this event so far. John Cottle currently sits in second place. As you see, his last lap, for some reason, appearing as a 21.6. That must be a scoring issue in terms of internet. So Cottle may have had a couple of connection issues throughout this event, definitely throughout that last lap time. He did start first, currently sits in second, so on paper, a very good race. Joey Stats still just making his rounds after starting in second. In fact, we'll see. We'll take this down. Actually, we'll go up with our actual comparison here. When the 48 comes across the start finish line. So right now, Joey Stats sits in the first place position. If we go to our blimp camera and just zoom all the way out here, bring up our driver comparison as well. John Cottle is actually slower than Joey Stats. Where is Cottle? He is somewhere on the entry of turn 1. Lower right side of your screen. Up there he is. Going to the left side, and he is gone off screen. So that is what 12 seconds looks like, and Joey Stats just gets around the right-hand side of Jacob Greider. Greider trying to fight back, though, on the outside, the left-hand side, but that's not going to work out. He wants to try and stay on the lead lap here. This is now a battle for, again, the free pass, essentially, between the 49 and 27 machine. Unless Jay Anderson gets passed. Which there's Anderson, there's Joey Stats. So this could be possible in the next 3 laps. It's going to be close, and it's going to be dependent on really who is where, of course, when the caution does fly for that midway race break. Stage break, more specifically. So in about 3 laps, Jordan Mackey and Mark Figueroa battling it out for that 6th place position. Is that Joshua Susi? No, that is not actually. Susi is actually in the battle of his own with Stephen Massey in the number 97. 97 and Massey just trying to hold him off for the next 3 or so laps. Very smooth. Very smooth through that final chicane, but here comes Joshua Susi just bearing down. In fact, we'll get the, there it is. 1 second faster, just about, is Joshua Susi. And we should see that time go from negative 0.6 to negative 0.4 in a couple moments. A bit in the dirt. Everything is A-okay. About a steady 6/10 of a second gap. Now it's down to 5/10. Susi is closing in, looking to make his move actually in the West Horseshoe, but it will not work. Decides to back off just enough. He wants to get those stage points. Oh, well, there goes Stephen Massey as he goes wide. But he does have a chance to get back at Susie here on this long straightaway. This is now going to be coming down to who can outbrake who. A little bit wide with Stephen Massey. Holds on to it. Both drivers able to bring it through the bus stop with no issues. Susie able to get that better run. Of course, this battle for this position is not over yet. It all, of course, comes down to how you take this final chicane. A bit of a more narrow entry for the 97 of Massey. But it's just not enough, so he'll lose out on that 4th place position now. Joey Stats, your leader, has been leading at this point the majority of these laps. See if we can get specifics here on when he took over that lead as well. In fact, as just double check to make sure, the fastest lap has been set by Joey Stats. A 156.169 in total. That was on lap 2 of this event. Looking through the field in terms of timing, it's Anthony Fitchner and Josh Mayu. Not in a direct battle for position number 12, but they're within about a second of each other. Although direct battle could be between Matthew Hibbs here and Joshua Johnson. Johnson in 18th place. Might be in 19th place here, especially after that lockup. Still hangs on to it. John Mankowski as well in the battle for this. Missing a front bumper for some odd reason. Not exactly sure what happened with Mankowski. We'll see what we can get there under the stage break. If we can get a replay, as Matthew Smithers had actually gone off track into pit road. He was in that battle as well. So Johnson and Hibbs battling out for what is now 17th place. Smithers just could not hold out until the stage break. Matthew McCann now the first driver 1 lap down. We continue to as we continue to watch this battle. We're 17th place now brewing at this point. Johnson definitely pulling a gap. We'll see what happened with John Mankowski when we get the chance. Not sure how he missed I turned his front bumper into a modified. Jim Westerfield had actually slowed down and spun. He's got hood damage as well. What happened to the 35 in the bus stop? Did he make contact by chance? We'll see here on the entry. Oh, another driver may have gone wide. That is Michael Leiby. Both drivers actually spun it. Both in the same shot as well. Leiby able to get it going quicker than the 35 of Westerfield, though. Man, both drivers, a few drivers that in general really not just in general not having the best day in terms of the bus stop or the chicane in general. Michael Leiby, the first driver to blink and to go into pit road. Joey Stats coming around to complete lap number 17. Kurt Quist right on the edge of getting lapped. Not the best way that he wanted to start this event. Of course, this first half has been absolutely terrible for him. Not exactly terrible. We'll go with rough. It's been a rough first half for Kurt Quist. Here comes Joey Stats just bearing down. Quist sits 20th. And maybe Matthew McCann, actually. That just got lapped. Actually, no, it's Ryan Dipple again. So it's lap 18, and yep, there it is, at the halfway point. Technically speaking. The caution is out. Joey Stats, your stage winner. John Cottle, 2nd place. 3rd place being James Wallace. Joshua Susi, 4th. 5th place, Stephen Massey. Jordan Mackey in 6th. 7th place being Mark Figueroa. 8th place, Jeremiah Stutzman. Jim Westerfield in 9th place. A much-needed caution for him to repair as much as possible. And Trey Davis snuck his way up to that 10th place position. Where did Trey Davis start? 11th, actually. He's had a very, very quiet day in about the top 10. Not too bad. Very consistent so far. So Kurt Quist now going to be panicking to get his way around to the back of the field. It all depends on where the pace car is. And where the pace car is, well, we will now take a look, actually, as we try and find that. Well, it still sits, actually. It still sits on the pit lane entry, so this could be good for Kurt Quist. Essentially, he's going to have to make one whole other lap. Matthew McCann will be getting the wave around here. But pit road is not yet open. Of course, all the drivers have to be behind the pace car here. And if you're Kurt Quist, you are using up all your tires and your fuel. Being, of course, very careful to get around to the back of the field. Now he's toned it down a bit. Not sure if he's fuel saving or not. He might be. Definitely trying to save tires at the very least. So Joey Statch, correction, sits in the 1st place position. Just very slowly cruising around here to catch up to the pace truck, which still has not yet left. In fact, we'll see where Kurt Quist comes about before the pace car moves. If it's before the pace car moves, he'll be fine. Pace truck is not moving. There goes Quist. And when does the pace truck move? There it goes. There's Joey Stats. So again, pit road not yet open. They all have to be lined up behind the pace truck. So we are going to be waiting quite some time here, but a great job so far to start off this event. Looking to be, at the moment, the only caution as well. In the meantime, as these drivers catch up to the pace truck, we'll at least go double wide so you can see who is where in this caution period as they start to line back up. And we'll be back momentarily here with your pit stops in full screen. In the moment, we'll be double wide and you won't miss a single thing.
iRacing is a sim racing game that combines a true-to-life racing experience with an online community of virtual racers from all around the globe. iRacing offers a multitude of officially licensed cars and tracks, laser scanned with millimeter accuracy. Their car models and mechanical systems are based on real-world physics, engineered in cooperation with manufacturers and race teams. Their skill license system ranges from rookie to pro, ensuring members are always pitted against those with similar skill sets. Members are able to sign up for a weekly race series, compete in time trials, host a private race with friends, and participate in racing leagues created and run by the community. With over 170,000 members, iRacing works in partnership with renowned motorsports organizations like NASCAR to deliver virtual races based on the real-life NASCAR Cup Series, as well as many other series on the NASCAR ladder. iRacing also features team racing, providing a variety of options for members to create and manage their own teams. Race with friends or real-world teammates in full-length endurance events like the 24 Hours of Daytona, Spa 24, or the Bathurst 12 Hour. Additional partners include IMSA, World of Outlaws, Supercars, and IndyCar, allowing members to race in their very own Indianapolis 500, Bathurst 1000, Chili Bowl, and many more iconic events. This is iRacing, delivering the most authentic racing experience short of getting into a real race car. Sign up today at iRacing.com.
We are back here at the Daytona International Speedway. Under caution for your stage break, going green with most likely about 15 laps to go. We'll be back for your stage. We're back for your stage break, of course. We will be back. We'll be back under commercial, at least double wide. for the remainder of the caution period before we get the 1 to go signal. And most likely everybody will be coming down pit road here momentarily. I would not doubt that in any way at all. Well, pit lane entry. What do we have? We have actually a few drivers deciding to stay out. Kurt Quist. I think that's Kurt Quist, actually. It might be some of the lap cars, most understandably staying out here. All your drivers coming down into their pit boxes here. The key thing here, especially at this track, is to not overshoot your pit box. And our timing is about to go absolutely insane due to the amount of digits changing at once, both on screen and quite literally off screen. 4 tires and fuel seems to be the call. Joey's stats, 14.5 seconds. His first off pit road. Second off pit road looks to be Kenny McCullough Jr. James Wallace third off pit road. Trey Davis still making his way through pit road. I think Davis missed his pit box, actually. Few drivers like the 48 taking all the fuel possible. Some drivers just now getting into their pit boxes. Let's see if we can get a replay here momentarily. We are still live, unfortunately, but we'll see if we can get a replay here. See what exactly had happened with Trey Davis. As unfortunately, he did miss his pit box. So see if we can ride on board the, I believe, the number 30 machine. Or his pit stop here. More his pass through pit road. So Davis not stopping in his pit box. He started 11th. He just straight missed his pit box. He's got a clear road ahead of him. He did stop in his box, actually. So for some reason over on our end, we were being shown that he did not stop in his pit box, but indeed he did, so that is quite strange. So Trey Davis did stop in his pit box, which is a good thing. So it should be a bit of a scoring error over on our end, but that happens. So some drivers now, like Michael Leiby, trying to stretch it out to the end. Joey Stats will be restarting in second. Kenny McCullough Jr. restarts third. James Wallace will restart fourth. Fifth place will be Stephen Massey. Now I'm wondering what exactly would be the time for Michael Leiby to pit. He pit 3 laps ago, coming to 4 laps from the last time he pit. And everyone else's lap has pretty much been reset, essentially, from going into pit road. And for the first 3 drivers here, being Gary Bauer, Michael Smethers, or Ryan Dipple, you are just hoping that another caution comes out at some point so you can get a pit stop. Because they do not want to be 1 lap down. Pace truck should have the lights off momentarily. And there it is, 1 to go signal with 15 laps to go. So it's going to be a 14-lap dash to the end. So with Leiby, this could work. Because they did run 18 laps under green, full blast, essentially. Full speed. They've had about 4-ish laps, give or take, of course, to save fuel. So this could work out for Leiby. It looks to be a single file restart as well. Unless they do decide to double file on the second half of this lap. Looks like they are very slowly considering going double file by the looks of it. Let's see who has what in mind here. course, keep in mind at the very least that the sponsors up in the top left are for this league, so go ahead and give them some of your love as they scroll by on your screen and have been scrolling by throughout the past 2 events. They'll always be up there on screen. As well as, of course, being very massively shown during the our double wide segments. So now is the moment that Joey Stats is not looking ahead for. It's the fact that he's restarting not only on the right-hand side, but he's restarting in second. And he's been leading a majority of this race. So unless something major happens, we will not be going under caution again for the rest of this event. At the moment, we're predicted to run about an extra half hour, just about. Again, provided that nothing, of course, happens. Which, so far by the first half of this event, it's been going pretty well. Few spins here and there, but nothing enough to bring out the yellow, luckily. We'll see how the second half of the race goes. 14 laps under green flag conditions. And given that lap times are just under 2 minutes, that's about 20... Doing math on air is actually quite difficult now that I think about it. Especially off the top of my head. For some reason I can't do 14 times 2, which is 28. So yeah, about a half hour. Took a second to kick in. So the entirety of the field here going to be going through the final chicane. Being led by Michael Leiby in the number 5. They'll bring the field to the green flag. A bit banged up from the earlier portions of this race as everyone gets caught up. Leiby is on the throttle as the green flag flies here at Daytona once again. Three of Joey Stats goes wide. Michael Leiby goes way off track. The tire's not up to temperature, unfortunately. And it's going to be a bit of contact here mid-pack. Everyone still continues to roll forward. But Leiby, just like that, and just from what we see in real life, everybody overshoots that first corner. And Stephen Massey has made his way into the lead as a result of that. Bit of a lockup there. But Stephen Massey continues to lead. Could this be now 2 in a row for the 97 machine? Joey Stats and Joshua Sousa have to say otherwise. Joshua Sousa as Stephen Massey goes wide again in turn number 6. We saw him go wide earlier in the battle for about the top 5, top 6. And it's a matter of who gives first here. Who blinks first on the entry to this back straight chicane. Massey dropping way back. Give a bit of room. Make sure he makes the bus stop here. A bit of a bobble. Everyone does make it through. Massey again, a bit of a bobble on exit. He'll drop to third. This now leaves this to be a 2-car race for the lead at the moment. If Susie can get caught up. But just like that, a very easy lap for Joey Stats. Joshua Susie second, Stephen Massey says third, fourth place. James Wallace doing a great job being consistent for fourth place as Mark Figueroa and John Cottle battle once again here on track, this time for the 5th place position. Right up to the back bumper. It could be bringing James Wallace into this battle as well, potentially. An attempt of pass in the back by the 60 of Chris McCullough. Trying to go on the left side, tries to go on the right side now. I don't know about trying to pass here. It's not exactly going to work out. He backs off as Troy Davis continues to sit in 8th place. Michael Libby has fallen all the way down to 17th place as a result of that restart. They're side by side just up ahead. Jordan Mackey overshoots turn number 6, goes wide. This is going to leave the left side open for Figueroa to fight back. Both drivers using completely different lanes. Turns out the top lane on the exit there was better for Mackey. Down into second gear through the bus stop. And I see Jordan Mackey just pulling away as we have a battle up ahead for 4th place. Wallace has fallen back. Stephen Massey has dropped back just a little bit as well. So this has definitely spread itself out. A bit of a curb hop. He does hold on to it though. John Cottle looking to get into the 3rd place position once again here. Looks to the driver's right side. Does he try and make it work? He tries to make it work, but it does not there on corner entry. Very bold decision. Passes on the left or passes on the right hand side entering turn 1. Don't usually work out too well. Oh, Chris McCullough is actually slow in the back. He went wide, unfortunately. And unfortunately, or instant replay button at least is a bit broken, so we'll do that the old-fashioned way. But in the meantime, still able to get the replay. Just overdrives the corner. Goes wide. Still hangs on to it, though. Trey Davis under fire for that 7th place position by Mark Figueroa. And for 3rd place, John Cottle has gotten by Stephen Massey. Matthew Hibbs side by side with Chris McCullough on the banking here in turn 7. Everyone's just doing their best to make their way through the bus stop here. As Joey Stats has pulled a 2.5 second lead. So it's the midfield battle, which is starting to ramp up. Jeremiah Stutzman in the 71 up on the top side. Slow, unfortunately. "11 laps to go as Stats has crossed the start-finish line. Curb hop from Chris McCullough. Hangs onto it. Stutzman very slow, unfortunately, on exits by the looks of it. Not as slow as Matthew Hibbs there, who had to drop back a couple positions by the looks of it. Kenny McCullough may have overshot again, just by the looks of it. And just comes to a stop. Has to wait for everyone to pass as well, just to make sure that he's not in anybody's way. So it's now Joey Stats leading Joshua Susi by 2.2 seconds. In fact, we could have a battle on our hands here in the second half. It's possible. Susi starts to reel in Joey Stats. John Caldwell sits 3rd. 4th place is James Wallace, Stephen Massey, and Jordan Mackey could be battling here on the banking. And that is exactly why I said could be battling. Because Massey has pulled an incredible gap there on corner exit of turn 6. Sounds like Massey is shifting mid-bus stop. Interesting strategy, not the thing that I would have thought of doing, actually. Closes in through the final chicane. And just like that, Massey, I was about to say, has a better exit, but he did bobble quite a bit. Trey Davis may have had a bit of an excursion of his own as well once again. Unfortunately, going a bit too far back, so we will move this forward. Coming in 10 laps to go for Trey Davis. First, he's fine. Gets a bit of a bobble, holds onto it, hits the curb, and has to stop. Just nearly made it. Again, it doesn't have to come to a full stop. At least here in iRacing, you are able to at least serve that slowdown penalty without coming to a full stop. As Stats is wide on corner exit of turn 6. Susie still sits solid 2.2 seconds back as Ryan Hedrick is midfield with a couple of these other drivers as well. Joshua Johnson, Kurt Quist. Quist almost doored Johnson out of the way. Here comes Matthew Hibbs to capitalize on this. Johnson very, very slow. Tries to fight back on the left-hand side, but it's not going to work. So Matthew McCann is the next driver in line to get lapped if he does end up spinning or what have you. They should be okay in the meantime. As Joshua Susi now has sat with a very solid. In fact, we'll take a look here at the start-finish line. And it's exactly what I thought. I was about to say, about the exact same lap times being set between these two drivers. A tenth of a second faster, just about, is Joey Stats. Exactly 0.094 seconds faster. At least at the start-finish line. That's more than enough for Joey Stats to be comfortable with the lead. So he is, albeit about the same pace as Joshua Susi, still holds that commanding lead that he held. Oh, Chris McCullough locking up the tires. Coming under fire by Anthony Fitchner. This is for the 11th place position on track. McCullough seems to have gathered everything up and gotten back going. Trey Davis sits 9th. The end of the top 10, I say, is about to be is about to change between Stutzman and McCullough. McCullough had gone a bit too much on the power. Stutzman having some issues, unfortunately. And how is John Mankowski doing with that missing front bumper? Still doing well. This is 14th. In fact, we'll see what we can get here with the replay for the number 93 machine. Is that Josh Mayu? It is. We'll definitely get a replay. We'll definitely get a replay here for Josh Mayu. Did he enter too much? Yep, braked a bit too much, and almost has it. Almost has it. Slight spin. Pulls it out of the racing line just in time for the 93 to get by. Has to try one more time to get it back going. Again, we'll see what we can get here with Mankowski. See where exactly he got any contact from. It looks like right here, this is lap 2. He already had some front end damage. So see if we can rewind this a lot more, actually. Let's see where exactly he got this damage from. If we can. It may have been the lap 1 incident even as well. So try and continue to get your replay. See exactly what happened with Mankowski. Unfortunately, forgot during the entire period of caution. In fact, we might have it. Oh, yep, now we remember. All right, so the first thing that happened with Mankowski that we caught very early on in this race is this spin. So we saw that, but we didn't see exactly where he got the next portions of damage. And we may have found it here sometime during this lap for John Mankowski. And wide on corner entry. Did he make contact with 20? Nope. So far, so good. There's Chris McCullough in the background earlier on. So far, your lead, by the way, as we continue to look at this replay real quick. Joey Stats sits first place, with Joshua Susi still second, 2.5 seconds back. And then John Call is another 2.1 seconds back. Try and speed this up as well to see where exactly that came from for this contact. It may have been actually right in the bus stop. I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case, because a lot of drivers have been having trouble here. Did he go off the track? Hold on to it. Last point of contact could be that final chicane. The couple slow drivers in front. Was it a miscommunication by chance? So I think it could have been a miscommunication between Dipple and Mankowski. Coming through the final back straight chicane. Oh, it's the 9. That makes contact. Oh, no. This is something we definitely missed somehow earlier on. That was the number 9 of Andrew Hibbs. That explains why he was out so early on. It was contact. This is in the first few laps, by the way, about within the first 5. It was a bit wide, makes contact. It's kind of like Chase Elliott and Ryan Blaney with that. And Mankowski has been running with that damage since then. So we're now back live. Chris McCullough has just spun on the exit of the back straight bus stop. Nearly in the racing line as well, but able to be out of the way here. So take a look. The sun sets, the track conditions are getting a bit different, of course. It's fine here, fine here. Just gets the grass. He was already breaking loose since then. And just barely makes it out in time. I'll take one more look on board the number 30 machine of Trey Davis. That's exactly how close that was. Even Trey Davis had a bit of a wild entry. Joshua Susi may have also gone off, as he has fallen back. Going back to replay again, it is absolutely wild. In fact, it was a battle for that second place position between Cottle and Susi. Clean here, tries to send it up the right-hand side. Both drivers go wide, brake lock up. No contact throughout that entire thing, I don't think. So, back live, we'd hope. After our little excursion of replays once again. It's been a very, very wild race, so apologies for all the replays, but we're trying to get everything covered as much as possible here. Keeping an eye on the driver's speed as well, just to see if anyone's actually spun out or had any issues. But it looks of it, so far so good. So we are now at 5 laps to go here at the Daytona Road Course. Joey Stats has put on a very, very commanding race and has been doing an incredible job. Trey Davis and Jeremiah Stutzman battling for the 9th place position here. Oh, huge, huge curb hop. A driver goes wide. That's Chris McCullough again, unfortunately, just having so many issues. Taking a look at Jeremiah Stutzman as Chris McCullough goes wide. Comes to a stop as well. Stutzman decides to pull it off the track and stop at least. As McCullough and Libby are now side by side near contact. Back alive once again. This is for 12th place. Libby in the 12th place position. McCullough sits 13th. Orange leader throughout all of this, midway down the back straightaway. Oh, did Jacob Grider have any issues? Possibly. We're not exactly catching him. There he is. I don't think he had any issues. Did see his speed go into the negative for a second, which over on our timing screen basically means that he is reversing. And did McCullough get past, or at least slowed up for that battle? Because it looked like he did. At least on our timing and scoring. We might be wrong. His last lap did not go through for us in full. Luckily, he did just fine throughout that corner, so he is all right. Covering our bases, just to be sure, Kurt Quist up to 16th place after nearly going a lap down. He does have front-end damage, but he could be able to get a 15th place position by passing John Mankowski. In the meantime, that battle for 12th place still going on. As the battle for 2nd place slowly starts to heat back up once again. Mark Figueroa had come off once again. It is just replay mania. Clean here, undershoots, or overshoots rather. As you come to a stop and just decide, yeah, I'm going to take that slowdown penalty. Oh, and he went wide again at turn 1. This is just the end of it. We'll rewind this one more time. Figueroa went wide. That allowed the way wide. Even the 53 McCann went wide actually as well. McCann not on the same lap as Figueroa. McCann is actually we have problems with Josh Mayhew. We might have problems with Josh Mayhew. May have come to a stop, actually, by the looks of it, in that final back straight chicane. A wild, wild second half here at Daytona. Making sure that everything is okay in terms of speeds. We're seeing speeds fluctuate, so... Oh, Trey Davis is around, actually. We just caught him for a second, and he was fine. This is coming into the West Horseshoe. Did he clip the grass by chance, or did he just get powered up way too early? He's fine, and just barely gets it. It was the exit as well as the fact that you just put a bit too much power into it. We're not going live, or we are going live, not going to replay. Apologies for that. We are back live, not on replay. So we're now at 3 laps to go here. Joey Stats leads. Joshua Susi second. James Wallace sits in third. What happened to John Caudle in 4th place? That's gotten past at some point. We did see some smoke. John Mankowski around in the bus stop. They safely get it back going, just about. Props to John Mankowski for still running this, even with a missing front bumper. And through all of this, Joey Stats is pulling once again a 10-second gap on Joshua Susi. Absolutely amazing. James Wallace sits third. John Caldwell has a couple lap cars between himself and James Wallace. And he is pushing that car. He is all over the track. All over his lane, rather, I should say. All over on the exit. Just trying to fight that car. Trying to get back going. Trying to salvage that third place position. Into the bus stop. Contact made by the looks of that from this camera angle. As a 33 had slowed up a lot more around. Goes Matthew Smethers. Did they make contact on corner entry? Because it sure looked like it there. Oh, technically no, it was netcode even. That's worse. Oh man, netcode contact. So technically they didn't make contact. We heard the sound, but they didn't really contact. So in a way, everything is all good, but at the same time, not really. Well, it is a 10-second gap between Joey Stats and Josh Susi. What a drive by Joey Stats. It's not even the white flag lap just yet. He's about halfway there. Just over halfway to the white flag. It's about a lap and 3/4, we'll say. Oh, Matthew Hibbs around on the bus stop. It's more and more lone spins, unfortunately, throughout this event. A trouble spot seems to be mostly the bus stop here on corner entry. He's fine, and he's already loose. Tries to hang on to it, snaps it back off track. At least good awareness. Even if it was overcorrecting, at least he did have the wherewithal to go the other direction. But trying to save it, Kurt Quist gets by Trey Davis for 13th place. Where is Joey Stats making his way throughout the final banked corner? About to take the white flag here. At this point, the race is official. It's only one caution from race control due to, of course, the midway stage break. And that means it is the driven clad one to go here. Final lap here, led by Joey Stats. But it's not over yet because Joshua Susi, even though he is almost 11 seconds back, still in line to at least close the gap if anything does happen with the three of Stats. Again, the first half of the race, they made it 18 laps without pitting. It's going to be 16 laps actually without pitting here for most of the field. So everyone should be okay. Especially Joey Stats. They had the caution period as well to save fuel if they needed to save any extra fuel. Going throughout the final corners here. Did Jordan Mackey go around in the final chicane, or first horseshoe? He did. Got back going, but Stephen Massey got by him for that 5th place position. That race, of course, isn't over yet. Joey Stats comes onto the back straightaway. Half a lap to go for that number 3 machine through the bus stop. As the sun continues to set here at Daytona. These races, of course, are not yet over throughout the rest of the field. But the one race that is over is the race for the lead. Joey Stats slowly and carefully brings it through after starting, as we see, in 2nd place. It doesn't matter what his last lap was or what his qualifying place was. What matters is that he was able to get here by the end. Joey Stats wins at the Daytona Road Course. Second place is Joshua Sousa as he makes his way by the final chicane. He'll come home in that second place position. James Wallace will come home in third place after staying fourth for a majority of the event. John Cottle goes wide. Does Stephen Massey go wide as well? The race for fourth place is still on. Cottle has to come to a stop. Here comes Jordan Mackey after making contact. This is again for the fourth place position. Coming to the start-finish line. Trying to slow down in time. Side-by-side drag race at the line. It was Jordan Mackey, I believe, at the start-finish line. We'll wait and see. In fact, we'll take a look here. Jim Westerfield comes home second. Jordan Mackey did get that fourth place position. Mark Figueroa comes home eighth. Ninth place is Stephen Massey. It might be Jeremiah Stutzman if he can get it. Ninth place correction could be Anthony Fitchener correction. That 10th place battle for the top 10 is done. There's Chris McCullough finishing 11th. 12th place is going to be finishing is Michael Leiby. Kurt Quist, a rough first half of the race, but he does come home 13th in the second half. A wonderful job by that number 95. A few drivers still making their rounds here, completing the event. Quick shout out, of course, to John Mankowski, missing the front bumper for the entire event, basically, and still comes home 17th. Ryan Hendrick, Joshua Johnson, 18th and 19th. Could be battling for this position. His leader makes his way through, or winner rather. So Ryan Hedrick comes through the final chicane. Nice and smooth for both drivers, just about. Bit of a curb hop. It could be a battle for 18th. Trying to push it too much is Joshua Johnson. He'll come home 19th. There's Matthew Hibbs. There he is. Comes home in 20th. And that is pretty much it for this event. So that means your winner here at Daytona is the 3 of Joey Stats. An absolutely incredible job and an incredible drive here by the end of the event as he burns it down here on the front straightaway. Now take a look at your finishing results here. Joey Stats finished in first place. Joshua Sousa second. James Wallace finishes in third. Jordan Mackey and John Cottle to a drag race down the line, with fourth and fifth. Stephen Massey as well in that battle finishes in sixth. Jim Westerfield seventh. Eighth place is Mark Figueroa. Ninth place Anthony Fitchener. And 10th place was Jeremiah Stutzman. Chris McCullough, Michael Leiby, 11th and 12th. Trey Davis finishes in 13th. Kenny McCullough Jr. finishes 14th. Josh Mayu finishes in 15th. John Mankowski finishes in 16th. 17th place. 17th place went to Ryan Hedrick. 18th place was Joshua Johnson. 19th place was Matthew Hibbs. And 20th place, the first driver one lap down, was Matthew Smethers. And then the final 30 cars, Matthew McCann finishes in 21st. 22nd was Kurt Quist. 23rd was Jay Anderson. 24th was Jacob Greider. And 25th was Jeremy Freer, with Ryan Dipple finishing in 26th. Gary Bauer finished in 27th. 28th was Andrew Hibbs. David Moody finished 29th. And Luis Salmaso finished in 30th. Bauer, Hibbs, and Moody, as well as Salmaso, were not able to finish or start this event, unfortunately. At least they did make an attempt to show up, so props to them on that. And right now, well, we are going to take a quick break here. And after that, what an event. The Pay-to-Win Subs 125 produced an amazing event. And we'll be back with your top 3 interviews here momentarily. Don't go anywhere, because we will be right back. Welcome back to the Daytona International Speedway after the pay to win subs 125 here for the Elite Championship Racing GTR Sim Series. And what a race it has been! It has been just absolutely incredible, incredibly wild. And we are here with your third place finisher, starting off with the 51 of James Wallace. And James, overall, you had a really quiet day, but in the end, you did manage to come home with that third place finish.
Yeah, I got lucky there towards the end with fourth place spinning out. It was good clean race.
That's absolutely incredible. Now, compared to, of course, last week, have you had any essentially struggles with practicing for this event, or really did you already have the hang of this, especially since, well, this track has been on iRacing since, I believe, about mid last year?
Yeah, I mean, I do a lot of road racing on our racing as well. So yeah, I was real familiar with the track and um, got a decent set and things seemed to work out.
And things, luckily, it did work out for you after this. So, heading into Homestead next week with these first three races being almost drastically different from each other, your thoughts for Homestead next week, especially with the top side?
I'm definitely I'm excited to get back to the normal smaller ovals. I'm not the biggest super speedway fan, and the road is fun, but it feels like we're going to get back to normal racing soon.
Before I go ahead and let you go celebrate your third place finish, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to that helped you get that third place?
Just my team. I mean, um, Josh Johnson invited me over. Um, I'm sort of new with all the names, but I know Mark hooked us up with the set. So everyone on my team just practicing that we were doing and having fun.
Well, luckily, everyone did seem to have a lot of fun throughout this event, so we're going to go ahead and let you go. Thanks for your time, and we hope to talk to you again next week.
But yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you now.
So that is third place finisher James Wallace. As we will now move on to your second place finisher, being the 81 of Josh Susie here momentarily. Overall, on paper, you could say that the 81 had an absolutely incredible race. So, Josh, go ahead and talk us through this entire event for you, because you had a really wild race, essentially, especially after starting in third. On paper, you had a very simple race.
Uh, yeah, it was definitely an up and down one. I'm glad all the downs were in the first half before our halfway break. And man, I thought for a minute I was going to get clobbered on the wall by Caudle, but luckily that didn't happen. And pretty good car. I was kind of hoping for a top five. I thought I might have a top three pace. And, I just fell off from those guys a little bit halfway through the run. They were a little bit better from there on.
And of course, with the first half of the race, like you mentioned, being pretty rough, everyone pretty much had a rough half here or there, be it the first or second half. So, in terms of the first half of the race being the longest run, how were your tires at the end of that compared after? How are your tires at the end of the first run compared to the end of this second half?
Uh, they were a little bit slower. But like you said, we had a little bit fewer laps this second half, and I felt like I had better pace this second run. Obviously, I didn't have to battle quite as much with Cottle and then the cell spin and trying to get back up through the field, which I think I got up to fourth at the stage break there. So that was a decent amount of stage points, and I was just trying to stay consistent and put a little bit of pressure on Joey and hoped he made a mistake, but he never did. And then once Cottle got by me, I just kind of settled down for third, and that was my main objective, to maintain that, get as many points as I could. And he had his own issues, and I was able to recapture second. So that was nice. One of these times, I won't be talking to you in second place.
It's just it might be one of those times where it's there might be the Mark Martin of the series, always coming in second. It's always there, but sometimes it just never arrives until when you least expect it. It does happen though, so hopefully that first win will be coming soon. But well, before I go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for that second place?
Yeah, my teammates at Hazy Days Racing, everyone that puts on the league, and shows up. Hopefully, we put on a good show for you. And I'd like to thank you for broadcasting and anyone that watched. Um, like I said last week, this open setup stuff is still new to me, so we got some people with better setups than others, and some people with just raw talent that's better than others. So it's really cool to see how that interacts. And so far so good. Really strong start to the season. Almost max points both weeks, so can't really complain too much about that. I got to keep that momentum going, and if that means I'm Mr. Mark Martin, well, I guess until chase time, I'll take it.
At least to be consistent. That there is that. Well, we're going to go ahead and let you go celebrate your second place finish. Congratulations once again.
Thank you, man.
That is the 81 of Joshua Susi. And now we move on to your race winner. And that same race winner who is going to be getting a complimentary setup as well in the process after winning this road course race. So, Joey, you did a impressive job. How was that? How's the run here throughout just this entire event?
Oh, it was enjoyable, obviously, up there leading. But to be able to win at one of our toughest tracks we're going to go to, that really gives me a lot of confidence going on to the rest of the year.
Especially here with this being the road course, it's already an easy entry in a way for you to at least relax for the most part going into the rest of the season before the playoffs do take place. But aside from that, again, you've just been absolutely consistent here throughout this first event. It was amazing.
Yeah, again, it was a lot of fun. I'm glad I was able to go out there and do what I did. Again, that gives me a lot of confidence going into these other road courses since we have so much more of them this year. I think it should be a lot of fun.
As now, especially with the qualifying in, I believe we're going to be double checking here in just a quick second, just so I don't mess anything up. There we go, second place. So with starting mostly up on the outside lane, just to start off that race, were you a bit worried considering that you didn't really have the preferred lane into turn one?
Yeah, it's always worrying going into turn one at a road course on the outside because you never know if somebody's going to overcook it, and you're right in the danger zone if they do.
Luckily, you did manage to come home to the end, dominate the second portion of the first half, and then as well as capitalize on the second half of the event. So, an absolutely dominant drive for you. Of course, that boost in confidence is always amazing. So, before we go ahead and let you go, anyone that you'd like to give a shout out to for that race win?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Pay to Win Setups, GTR Simulators, and all of our other sponsors for coming on board this season with ECR and making this show happen. Anthony, dealing with everything he does, and all the other admins. My teammates, Matthew Hibbs, Andrew Hibbs, and John Caudle for all the work that we're putting in together into these setups. It's really helping out all the work that we do.
Has been absolutely incredible indeed. So we're going to go ahead and let you go celebrate your race win and get a bit of relaxation before Homestead next week. Congratulations on that win.
Yep, thank you, sir.
So that is the three of Joey Stats getting a race win for the first time this season. The second driver to win if there's a proper way to word this, and I'll try and word this correctly. The second driver to win in two races. There we go. The second different driver to win in two races, more specifically. So we have Stephen Massey, we have Joey Stats. Will we have anybody next week different at Homestead, or will we be having a repeat winner? We'll have to wait and see going into next week. But of course, getting that complimentary setup from Pay to Win Setups is Joey Stats. So more than likely, he's going to be taking that to full advantage whenever he decides that time is right. So we are going to go ahead and sign off and congratulate once again Joey Stats on his race win. This has been the Elite Championship Racing GTR Sim Series here with the Pay to Win Setups 125. We thank you all for watching, and we hope to see you all next week at Homestead.